Hey, everybody, welcome to TV Chef Fantasy League, the podcast that isn't half as cool as Dylan's hat. I'm your host and commissioner, Mike Cablon. With me are my co hosts, Sierra Kato and Iffy Wadiway. I feel like we just got to start right off the bat talking about this hat. The hat is
Sure.
insane. Tell me your thoughts on Dylan's hat.
I think Dylan's making, big choices. Em kept mentioning how she can't stop thinking about someone saying he looks like a cat come to life. And
Yeah,
Oh no.
and like with me, I was like, yeah, no, he's trying things out. He's trying to find his style. And this is his like beatnik, cool, cool Aristocats, according to M
Oh,
phase.
interesting. Yeah, there's a French element. I think like
Yeah.
it was the hat in combination with the red shirt, the
yes,
red
they're
shirt
both strong
without the hat.
choices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would have been pretty classic, but yeah, together it was like this puffy man. Like it almost felt like I was thinking like musketeer almost or like but also
Okay.
Baker, maybe Baker who
Yeah.
serves musketeers.
I'm really liking all these comparisons. Here are some of the ones that people wrote in with because it was such a thing that people wrote to us to share their thoughts on Hat. Somebody said he looks like a Don Bluth character and then shared screenshots of Fievel from Fievel Goes West.
Yes.
Exact same hat. I'll put this in the chat so you can see exactly what that looks like. Okay, the link is too long to send. Hold on.
The hat is too big for the chat to handle.
Okay, does that work? Does that click?
It says suspicious link. I'm clicking it. It
Okay,
goes,
all right.
whoa, are you sure
Yeah,
you
yeah.
trust?
What are yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Who's
this is exactly right.
It's exactly that.
Wait, this is from five. Okay, interesting. Yes. Okay, I mean, he basically just copied that mouse. I don't know this mouse, honestly.
You don't know any of the Fievel? There was Fievel Goes West, Fievel, An American Adventure, An American Tale, or something. It was like in the early 90s, there was like a
Oh,
boom of like other animation studios that were
oh,
not Disney. This was one of them.
right. I mean, it reminds me of like what Rescuers kind of
Yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
genre,
Yeah.
just like
Um,
rodents with hats.
Somebody else wrote in and said he looks like a 17th century Dutch painter.
Yes,
Um,
yes, artist. Yeah.
my vote goes to he looks like he's like the long lost member of Fat Albert's crew. I don't know if that
Interesting.
That's
resonates with
actually
you
really
guys.
good. That is actually so good. And if you don't,
Okay.
just
Yes.
look it
Yes.
up.
Yeah,
You
yeah. It might
you
be a little
nailed
bit of
it.
an older, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I say all this out of love. I am not ragging on the hat. I wish I could pull off a hat like that. I couldn't do that in a million years. If I wore that hat anywhere in America, I'd get punched in the face immediately.
Right. Well, that's why he's in Britain.
Well, I feel like there's
Yes.
always this saying, right, where it's like, are you stylish or are you just hot? And I feel like I feel like this would not hinder Dylan in any setting. Like someone see
Yeah.
that guy, they're still going to give him play. They're going to be like, "Ooh, he looks mysterious," and like, what's
Yes.
his deal? And if any normal person wore that, they'd be like, "Yuck."
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a hot person's hat for sure. Um,
Yes.
I also wanted to point out because look, we're all going to talk about the hat, but I also noticed at some point he was walking away from the camera and he also had like a big logo on the ass of his jeans, like Juicy Couture style. I couldn't read what it
Missed
said,
that.
but I was
Mhm.
like, this man is styling left and right, head to toe, pure drip.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
he learns to skateboard and then he says, "Why don't I try fashion on for a
Well,
spin?"
this is really kind of like getting into my like currently blossoming theory about him, where like gotten hot between that gap year. Like before the
Yeah, yeah,
gap year,
yeah,
he was kind of like a
yeah.
brainiac. That's why he has all those fun facts and interesting
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
And he like grew his hair out, got that chiseled chin and
Yeah,
cheekbone. And
yeah.
now he's like, well, what kind of hot guy do I want to be? Because the world is his
Yes.
oyster now.
Yes. I'll point
Mm.
to another thing, and I'm just formulating this theory on its feet right now. But I think that, like, Dylan is a really easy laugh, which is a good quality. You know what I mean? Like, he laughs really generously and easily at
Mm.
jokes. And I feel like people have been hot for a long time. For some reason, their sense of humor has died and they don't laugh that easily. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does this
Yes.
resonate with you guys that, like, I think
Yeah.
dorks laugh really
Got
easily.
it.
And he
Yeah.
still is like the spirit of a dork insofar as like he laughs generously, you know?
Oh yeah.
I see. Yeah, so it's still fresh in his mind. Being a dork
Yeah.
is still fresh in his mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair. I mean, I would say talking about speaking of easy laughs, Mike is always just
Yes.
dying of laughter. It's pretty funny. It's contagious.
Yeah. And you can tell that he has joy in his heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love to see it.
Something about
What's that
being
like?
hot just kills you on the inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something we wouldn't know anything about. We're also
Right,
hot.
exactly.
Okay. Some follow-up from last week. Several people wrote in to comment about, because we were talking about Andy missing his daughters. Some people pointed out they don't go home anymore, or people
Oh,
had different theories, but
yeah.
the consensus seems to be that people don't, not everyone goes home between every challenge, depending on
Interesting.
where they live or depending on COVID protocols or whatever. So that
Oh,
might be, if you have insight, please let us know. But that might be a reason that, Andy only packed 3 hats and misses his daughters, that he's not actually going
I
home.
see. Yeah, maybe it is a threshold of like radius. Are you super far
Mhm.
away? Then we're putting you
Right.
up. If not, you can
Yeah,
go
if you're like
home.
in Wales or something too.
Right.
Probably
Yeah. If
not
you're in a
going
totally
home.
different
That
country,
seems
they're not.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Okay. Bridget wrote in and told a story about how in Bridget's league, there's a player named Glenn, and his entire team was decimated in the first 4 weeks. He picked the first 4 players
Oh no, Glenn.
to be eliminated. So we feel for Glenn. Bridget's solution was that everyone in their league donated one player to Glenn so that Glenn
Oh,
could keep on playing, which I think was really nice.
Wow.
But it got me thinking, what would you guys do in this scenario? If like my team was
sure.
completely gone, what would the ruling be?
I think you just become a podcast co-host.
That's kind of how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we haven't had that happen so quickly before, but
Yeah.
we have had. I think Top Chef Iffy, you were out at some point earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
became,
Usually for us, it happens
innocent
pretty deep
bystander.
down the line. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother's a serious fantasy footballer, and he's in a guillotine league, and this is like deep cut fantasy football stuff. But that's like if you're on the bottom each week, you're done for the rest of the season. Forever. You're out. You can't tag back in. No take backsies.
Wow.
And I'm like, that feels a
Whoa.
little harsh. But I
Yeah.
guess if you're like a real like football guy like my brother is, then that's
Yeah.
acceptable stakes. But to me, I'm like, I appreciate that Bridget's friends were all like, we're gonna give Glenn a player.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is nice. As long as, I mean, we'll see then if whoever gets, they're all very generous now, but then someone will
That's
get
true.
knocked out and they'll be like, damn it. Or they gave their
Yeah.
best player away.
Right. If you give away the winner, the next Great British Bake Off winner, then that's a big problem,
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about this episode. It's Caramel Week. The signature challenge was to make 12 caramel biscuits. Before we even start the challenge, Paul talks about how perfect caramel should be the color of his skin. I gotta know what you guys think about that comment.
I stared at my screen for a bit, and M just yelled no. Yeah, I was like, I don't know if caramel is lighter over there, like because when I think of caramel, I'm thinking of Shamar Moore.
Yes,
I'm
perfect,
thinking of
perfect caramel color.
Genuine. Yeah, like I'm not thinking of Paul Hollywood.
Paul Hollywood.
They were like, they made this little bit in the middle where they're like, if it's closer to Allison's skin. First of all, weird way to talk about
Yeah,
caramel.
I was when it started, and they did the smart thing with letting her take the lead on it, but I was
Yep.
already like, no, 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 no,
Yep.
and they did it.
Yep.
They did it.
Didn't feel comfortable. It's like it's weird insofar as they talked about it, and weird insofar as how they interpreted it. Because I'm like, I think that caramel is better when it is closer to Allison's skin than to Paul's skin.
Right. Yeah. I know. I also was like uptight about it, but I wonder, I'm like, it's like, is the color strange on our television?
Yeah.
That he's like super, but I guess the thing is like, is he known for being like getting a spray tan or something?
Oh,
I know they made a joke about power washing him with something earlier in the season,
Yeah.
or like, is that his thing? He like loves to be
oh,
like
I didn't think about
tan
that.
man, but I mean, he's not tan
He's not.
enough, but
Yeah. You can't.
no.
The kinds of things you can do on British television that you
But-
simply cannot do on American
Sure.
television.
Yeah, I was like, I think this is just like a cultural difference that I'm getting uncomfortable. But no,
Yeah.
I think everyone could be uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing that I learned before we start with the actual challenge is that Prue has a Michelin star. They threw that out, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. I Googled her. She's incredibly accomplished. First of all, she's Dame Prue Leith. She is knighted. I learned that she doesn't consider herself much of a baker. She's more of a chef, but she's like, I'm still qualified because, I have a good palate. I have a Michelin award-winning palate. And then I also learned that she voted for Brexit.
Oh no.
Well,
And then I stopped reading things.
That
I'm
is
like, I don't
funny.
want to know
That's-
more.
out there. Well,
Yeah.
here's another thing I learned because I also did the same thing of like, oh, what Michelin star? Like, and then I think the Great British Bake Off Instagram posted like all these bullets of like what she's accomplished. Great, but
Oh,
apparently her thing, she's like worth a lot. She's worth like 100 million pounds or something because she was in
sure.
like the upper echelon of like whatever upper class British people, whatever that means. Like she was their go-to caterer or like
Oh,
I
like
mean, food.
Chef to the Stars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah,
she's like in that world, which means that's a very, Brexity world, I'm guessing.
yeah. That makes sense.
Oh
No, there's
yeah,
a
you mean as the closer you are to being rich,
To
the
wealth.
more of a bad person you are? Yeah. I think we've learned
Yeah,
that.
this is another level of class and wealth and all that goes on over there, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. I witnessed this in action because I was just in Europe and I saw a so it's like when you're like going to like the passport control line in another country, and in Europe it's like EU passports this way, all the other passports this way, and this woman walked up and was like, I have a British passport, I should be able to go in the short line, and he's like, no, you have to go with the all other passports, and I was like, that woman for sure voted for
Oh, but
Brexit
yeah, she's like, surely
and
this will
does
make
not
my life
understand.
better.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
nope. Um,
Nope.
nope.
Anyway.
Anyway, let's hear it again for Prue.
Yeah, don't Google your heroes. That's all I'll say. You'll learn things you don't want to know. Okay, let's talk about the contestants. We're down to 9 now, which is a manageable number. We don't have to go as fast, but let's start with Christian. He did a spiced nut stroop waffle. Looked delicious.
Oh yeah.
And it also felt like of course he's a Dutch guy. I feel like on American television this would be like a thing where they're like, you're from the Netherlands and you're making your people's food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. They didn't really highlight that.
No. No. But they looked good and they tasted good and not a lot to say. There's just that they look delicious. I was a fan. Okay, let's talk about Nelly with her good old times caramel biscuits with some walnuts thrown in, Slovakian inspired. She did start out with very lumpy caramel, so she started her caramel over, starting off strong with an extra half point for Nelly. If you get ready for Nelly to get you a lot of points in this episode.
Oh, Nelly was crushing. I was very happy with Nelly this episode, even though we were kind of scared there at some points, but
oh, absolutely,
really,
because
Right.
she did say that she hates caramel, so I was like, that's not a good sign. You know what I mean?
But Dylan also hated what was it, cakes?
Oh yeah,
Cakes
cake
were-
is his weakness.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, but he pushed through.
Hey.
Okay. Hers turned out, good flavor, texture a little bit too stodgy. In my file it under give her own show for this week, they said these look like Star Trek creatures, and she said just like me. Ah, so charming.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She's so charming. Okay, let's talk about Sumaya, who made sesame hibiscus caramel biscuits with a mango lime ganache. Okay, I want to talk to you guys about this because this was the first of many sort of like citrus fruit combinations in this episode. And am I the only one who thinks that like citrus and caramel don't go together? Is that like a British thing that I don't? Is it just me?
Yeah. No, I also don't. I haven't thought of that combo ever. And let's see, caramel. Yeah, I don't know. But then I was also just so thrown off by caramel in general at this episode where I was just like,
oh really?
Whole week for caramel. Like, well, to me, I'm like, I guess that's an ingredient in certain things, but I didn't know it's not like bread where it's like its whole genre of thing. So I was like, well, maybe just over there, they're just really doing something different with it over there. And then apparently it's Paul Hollywood. Like you know what I mean? Like I was like, am I just like in a different world? So I think I kind of just was giving it like, oh, well, maybe they do that. Sweet plus sour, like, sure.
When you say it like that, I guess I could see it, but I'm like, in America, I feel like I never see like a lime caramel or like a pineapple caramel kind of thing. And they were doing it left and right here.
Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell to me.
Yeah, same. Iffy. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I think I don't have a stance either way.
Spoken like a true politician.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah.
Wait, so Sierra, are you not a caramel person, period?
No, I think I just, the way I think of it is like, I will eat a caramel candy.
Sure.
And like sometimes caramel is in a chocolatey thing with a cracker, maybe. but I'm not thinking of it as much. Like I just am like, that is kind of a unique kind of niche thing. And I just don't think of it as like a genre that I'm like, oh, let me make 8 recipes with caramel,
That makes sense. But I could also see an argument for like, I see what you mean about like Cake Week is like, here's a whole category of food, cakes. But I could like, if they did like a strawberry week, it's like, well, you can do anything you want with strawberries. And in that sense, I feel like caramel is like, yeah, you can put caramel in whatever you want,
Right. Okay. Yeah. When you phrase it that way, sure. Maybe it's just because it's the first one coming off where it's like more of a ingredient than a form of thing. But But anyway, I like the idea of this hibiscus. Like it, everything she conceptualizes always seems very unique and very innovative. Obviously, like it didn't come out the way she wanted / they didn't like it that much. But again, like more inventive than others.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I'm starting to get this feeling every time Sumaya describes what she's about to bake. She's like, "Here's my concept." The judges are like, "Ooh," which part of me is like, they might be kind of playing favorites, but also they do sound good. And it was a real bummer to see her like not be able to follow through on a lot this week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to Andy and his a bit of a fix caramel biscuits, shortbread caramel, toasted hazelnut, praline. This is a hazelnut Twix, right? They looked very much like candy bars.
Yeah.
And a bit of a fix sounds like Twix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. That's why I liked it, because I love a Twix.
Who doesn't?
I know. Twixes are great. I actually saved one of those, like, Instagram loves showing me like a healthy fucking version of something. And I got one of the like healthy Twix because they always look great.
Was it any good?
Yeah.
I haven't made it yet, but I will report back.
You have to make it.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
How often are these recipes good? Because I feel like
if
you showed me
it is hit or miss.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sometimes they're great. Sometimes it's like yuck.
Yeah. Especially healthy version. It's like sometimes you kind of just want to make something completely different. So you can't even imagine the Twix. If you have something to compare it to, then you're like, this isn't as good as that. But if it is its own thing, then you're like, okay. But I mean, it could be even better.
Yeah.
I doubt it. Twix.
Any
food ceiling that's like made strictly with chemicals, I'm like, you can't make it better. Anytime someone's like, here's how to make a homemade Oreo, I'm like, why? The Oreo is the best version of the Oreo,
They have lab tested that Oreo.
Exactly.
To the cloud.
It's engineered to taste good.
Exactly.
Hydrox is the better version. The Oreo just has better branding. And I will bring that up every time.
Okay.
Wow. You're really, I haven't met a true Hydrox stan in a while.
Oh yeah, anytime you have a Hydrox, I was like, this is the better cookie, but Oreo had the better branding.
Yeah, okay. I can get behind that. Yeah, no, but I always think the same thing about like Doritos. Restaurants always like, here, we dusted these tortilla chips and cheese. I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I need the chemicals. That's what makes it good.
Yeah. I do get that. Where it's like, that's the good part. Let's not take it away.
Okay, so Noel does his bit with Andy where he's like, how on earth are you still here? Because he had such a shitty week last week. Another thing where I was like, you can't do that on American television. Like a host can't openly just be like, how are you still,
Right. I feel like I've seen contestants be like, I don't know how I'm still here, but I don't know if the host could.
Yeah. Hosts can't openly insult an American contestant. So I thought that was really fun. Anyway, his little Twix bars were really good. Okay, let's talk about Georgie, because this is the other one that I couldn't figure out. She called it her favorite chocolate bar, and they very clearly were like, yeah, we know what candy bar you're talking about. We can't say it. I couldn't figure out what it is. Do you guys know what she was trying to approximate? Because it was peanut butter nougat, peanut caramel, and milk chocolate with like the biscuit in it. And I was like, Twix doesn't have peanuts in it. Snickers doesn't have a biscuit in it. So I don't know. It sounds good, whatever it is, but I don't know what this is.
We have to also add like a little leeway of like, their weird summation of what is what. So there is a world in which a Snickers, they do say like, that's a biscuit. Well, no, because Snickers has chocolate, caramel, and nougat, right?
Nougat. Yeah. But
what
nothing
about
crispy.
Payday? Well, that's like peanuts.
That
guess.
but is there a like a cookie kind of thing in a payday? No. It's just like caramel peanut chocolate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It
Paydays are
needs
just caramel peanut
it's
chocolate.
missing the cookie thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really couldn't figure out what it was
Something
supposed to
similar.
be.
Yeah. I in my head I was like, almond joy. That's a wrong nut. I realize
Yeah.
now. But yeah. Well, maybe they have something over there. Again, they got a whole different thing going on over there
Yeah.
with all
Yeah.
their cookies, and they have more regulations on the ingredients, so they're not
Oh, do
getting
they
as much
really?
chemicals. Yeah, they're like much better about, I think. I mean, I don't really know what the difference is, but overall, I think they tend to be pretty good
Sure.
about ingredients and have more like laws that are like, hey, you can't inject this into your thing. And then
Yeah.
that ends up making everybody a little bit like less chemicaled up, I guess. I don't know.
Which I guess is good.
Which
But
I
again, you're
guess is
missing
good,
out
but
on
yeah, come
those
Good
good
on,
stuff.
make it
American
a
flavors.
Dorito.
Yeah, exactly. They're not, no, they're whatever their equivalent of Taco Bell is not pumping out the Doritos Locos Taco. You know what I mean?
Oh God, and I hate him for it.
It's like it's their loss. I'm not even
Truly.
mad. I'm like, that sucks for you.
Yeah, I guess
Uh,
live longer but less happy.
yeah, okay. So she does her favorite chocolate bar, and then Paul does the fake out handshake where he offers his hand, then he pulls it back. And I was like, Paul, you little flirt. I think he's really into Georgie, and this is like his thing that he figured out. She's like, that'll like make her laugh, you know?
I
Is that just
guess.
me?
I see. Yeah, maybe. Hmm. A flirt.
It was it. So his justification was like, "This is really good, but you did break a few. Like coming out of the mold, they broke a little, so I can't give you a handshake." But then he like did it again later in the episode, and I was like, "You're pushing this too far. You're taking this bit too far."
Yeah, I'm never gonna trust him.
Yeah.
I already didn't before after he talked about his skin being the color of caramel,
Yeah.
and now my trust is going even lower because these weird fake out handshakes.
Ooh.
Okay, Ilyin made all Florentine caramel biscuits. So there's a little this tricky. I had to messed up her caramel. She's like, I'm not sure about this, but then she just said she's pivoting to dry caramel. She was like, I think this is fine. I can save it. So I don't think this was starting over. Write in and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm ruling that was not a start over. And they turned out good. They said they looked and tasted good. It reminded them of Florentines. Prue called it a little triumph. So it all worked out that you didn't start over. Dylan did his oats with pineapple caramel biscuit. Again, pineapple. And he put lime juice in the cream because he was like the lime made the cream look ugly. But I was like, we don't need to say more on it. But the citrus fruit and the caramel just gets me. It's odd. Dylan did say he was more intimidated by Prue than by Paul. I think that that's because Paul treats him like his son. Paul is always like, "Good job, buddy, high five."
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, I feel like he already kind of impressed Paul in Bread Week, which was his week, and
Yes,
so it's
yeah,
like, check that, now it's Prue time.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. But since Prue is not a baker, I feel like it's really hard to impress Prue. You know what I mean? Oh, Val is pointing out that Dylan also wants to be a chef, not a baker, and Prue is a chef, which would
That's a good
explain
point.
why he is more intimidated by her. Yeah,
That's right.
that is true. Good
She has
insight.
the keys to the
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. If she gives her stamp of
elite chef
approval,
world. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he'll be the
Yeah.
next to take on the mantle of like cooking for the queen or whatever.
Yeah.
They did call Dylan's caramel biscuits. Paul said they looked like a little canapé, and that just like hit home for me because as someone, I just did a bunch of like wedding catering tastings, so I've eaten
Yeah.
a shit ton of canapés in the last week, and I was like, they do look like canapés. We nailed it. How was that process for you, Sierra? We're gonna take a detour into just like wedding planning.
Oh, I didn't really have to do too much tasting stuff because
Oh.
we did it at a restaurant that had it all built in.
Oh,
So they had some like
nice.
choices, but it was like, we're definitely using this kitchen. So
Yeah.
it's just what within and that was, I guess choice paralysis wise easy. And it was good.
Yeah.
But if it were
Yeah.
bad, obviously that would be a bummer because we wouldn't
Yeah.
have any other option.
Yeah. Did you pick the restaurant because you like the food or because you like the space?
Mainly, yeah, space and location. The food turned
Mhm.
out to be good, but I, didn't necessarily know much about it. I think we did try eating there just a regular day once, and it was like, oh, this is good. Hopefully, they'll
Okay.
use some of the similar stuff. I think they have a different menu for the wedding stuff. This is going down a path a little bit, but yeah, but it was good.
That's good.
Still good.
Yeah. Because there are a lot of restaurants here in LA that I can think of where it's like, the space is gorgeous. The food is garbage. Do not eat here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, do I say their name on air or do I spare myself?
Then we can never have them sponsor the pod.
Right. Exactly. As if a local restaurant could sponsor a podcast. Do you guys, oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Look, I said I'm open to it. I would, let them. We can be the first local restaurant sponsored pod.
Oh yeah.
I think that's fun. It's like TV shows get, like local ad spaces. You know what I mean? Like used car dealerships and stuff. Why not podcasts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why not advertise a small neighborhood cafe in like, fucking Valley Village or whatever? So if you're a restaurant owner and you're looking to sponsor a podcast, our DMs are open.
We're open. Yeah.
Wide open.
Okay, so they like Dylan's stuff. Paul made a joke about it looking like a UFO convention. That made Dylan laugh, and I was like, "Yep, there it is. There's that happy spirit." Mike made Dad's favorite caramel biscuits. Okay, so this was a bake that was dedicated to someone else. So I did try and look up whether or not that person is deceased, and I could not find any evidence to indicate that Mike's dad is dead. So no points there. He also he started to mess up and he chose not to start over. So no starting over points there. Yeah, they looked nice on top. They were a little bulgy on the side. And he was like, they didn't like my bulge, which really Great British Bake Off living up to your like pun reputation this episode, Oh, Mike also had the pun about he was drizzling and Noel was like, the drizzle looks cool. And he said, I don't know, I think it looks a bit Pollux. Like bollocks.
Oh, right.
Clever.
Bollocks,
I liked it.
Pollux.
Great little British pun. And finally, Jill made her fruit and nut millionaire caramel biscuits. Her mom, this one's dedicated to her mom. Again, could not find any evidence that mom was dead, so no points awarded there. But she used Brazil nuts and raisin, which I'm like, okay, nut raisin, sure, that's a combo. And maybe Brazil nuts just like aren't as popular here as they are there. Did that register as weird to you guys, Brazil nuts and raisins?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because it really doesn't, because Brazil nuts is kind of like a rich, kind of bold nut, and raisins. Yeah, I think bouncing against that, I don't really see the cohesion, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a little different. I think also just thinking like, I guess like in trail mix math, like I guess it's that kind of, they go together.
Yeah.
Like any nut and raisins or cranberries or whatever people do. So maybe that's what she was going for. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's a good point. If you can find them together in a trail mix, that means they go together, because theoretically they're just going to be in the same handful of trail mix.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if it's the best formula to live your life by, but I think it does exist.
Yeah. Okay, the big point for Jill here is that she helps Mike take his biscuits out of the mold. It seemed like everyone was struggling to get them out of the tins. I mean, Georgie, that's the reason she didn't get a handshake. But so Jill helps out Mike. That's plus 1 point for Jill.
And she was like, you would do it for me. And Mike was like, probably not, because I've never been done earlier or whatever. That was really funny.
Yeah. I appreciate that Mike is self-aware. Yeah. Anyway, Jill's biscuits were nice, little big, borderline billionaire shortbread is what Paul said. So that's a nice compliment. Okay, let's move on to the technical challenge. Technical challenge this week was to make a pear tarte tatin with a caramelized walnut ice cream. Have you guys ever tried to make a tarte tatin?
No.
I tried it out of sheer hubris because Gordon Ramsay has made it in more than a few episodes. It's sort of, it's like he has a few recipes that he's okay with sharing on TV. Like at this point, everyone knows how to make his beef Wellington. Everyone knows how to make a sticky toffee pudding. There were a few shows where he did the tarte tatin, and I was like, that looks easy. And without a recipe, I just kind of like did what I saw him do on TV. Awful. Turned out so bad.
Oh no.
So you tried to do the Master Chef challenge where you were just watching him and just was like, all right, I'll just go based off of that.
Yeah.
That's too challenging.
Yeah. So to remind anyone who's listening for the first time, we don't speak about contestants in a way where it's like, I could do better. Because like, no, I could not do better in any scenario.
God, no.
Um, it was so there's a lot of drama in this challenge because there's the flip, right? You put the plate on the pan, then you flip it all over and you hope it turned out okay. When I did the flip, it just like it turned into like liquid goo
Oh my
It's
God.
like it
Oh
didn't hold together
man.
at all. It was terrible.
Yeah, I believe it. Any baking stuff, it just has to be so precise. So if you're not working off a recipe, I think it just becomes like a different beast. It's just like a whole nother element.
Yeah. I think that's true for a lot of I mean, like I use store-bought pastry, you know what I mean? So I wasn't like
Oh, sure.
measuring out pastry. And then from there it is closer to cooking because you're just like making caramel, poaching fruit, laying over pastry, baking it. But it just I
Even,
didn't do it
yeah,
right at all. And then I
it's
gave
okay.
up forever.
It's okay.
Okay. In order from worst to first, in last place is Andy. Both of his caramels went a little too far, turned out a little burnt. In eighth place was Jill, too bitter, too thin. Seventh place, Mike, a little pale, a little doughy. They said it was underbaked. They did not say it was raw, so no points there. Um, I had to go back and watch this part with subtitles because there's a bit where he split his custard and it sounded like he said, I'm going to start it again. But the subtitle said, I'm going to sieve it again, meaning he was going to put his custard through a strainer to make it less lumpy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you caught that too.
Yeah. I see. Because I watch with the subtitles too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So no points there. He did have this fun little bit before he pulled it out of the and said, okay, I'm going to come out now. I am gay, and made himself laugh, and that was delightful. I thought it was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Okay, in sixth place is Nelly. Uh, okay, there's two things to talk about here. Very quickly, we'll get out of the way that Nelly and Allison do their little dirty dancing bit. Very cute. Here's the bigger one. Noel does this bit where he's playing baseball with Nelly's dough, and then knocks over her glass. Sierra, I'm seeing a big reaction. Tell me your thoughts.
Oh, shocking. Well, it was because it was so ridiculous. Well, who was he playing with again? Was it
Andy? He like
Andy?
threw it into
Classic
Andy's hat,
Andy,
and
troublemaker.
then they did
No.
the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then he shatters that thing and he's like, "You didn't need that, did you?" And then she's like, "Yep.
Yes.
Yep."
Yeah.
And she, to her credit, it's Nelly. Of course, Nelly's a champ.
Yeah.
Nelly needs her own TV show. She was like, "Yeah, I did." She was calmly just being like, "All right." And they're like,
Cool as a
"Okay, down to
cucumber.
business." Like,
Yeah.
everybody, let's get back down to business. So at least he, helped her remake it. But yeah, I'm sure that was, I mean, I don't know. It's like, what do you even do at that point,
Yeah. No, I clocked that too. I appreciate that she was very chill about it because another person would have like started crying and made it a whole thing. And she was just like,
Yeah.
I'll just make it again. And I was like, cool, dude. Hell yeah.
Right. No time to be wasted.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a point of contention. When her jar of caramel hits the floor, something hits the floor. That is usually minus a half point. That's a penalty. I'm leaning toward no penalty because it was not her fault, and I am, if nothing else, a benevolent commissioner. Now, this would benefit Iffy. So, Sierra,
Yes.
I'm conferring with you here as the more pertinent party. Are we comfortable
Right.
not penalizing Nelly because it was not her? She didn't drop anything.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way that we rectify this because yeah, it was totally not her fault and it's like so ridiculous. So, yeah, I think that's a good call.
Okay, great. So we're going to go no negative point there. She does get a positive half point for starting over again. So that does not cancel out. She just gains a net half point.
Yeah.
And then when it came time to judging, they said there was not much caramel on the tart. And I'm like, that's Noel's fault.
Because it's in the glass in the trash
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. Okay. So that landed her in sixth, in the middle. Not too bad. In fifth place is Dylan, needed longer in the oven. Fourth place, Ilyin. They said it was more like a short crust. In third place, getting a half point was Sumaya. They said it was nicely arranged. Could have done longer in the oven. In second place, getting 1 point was Christian. They said his caramel was balanced perfectly, which I thought was interesting because Christian was talking about how he eyeballed his caramel. He did not use a thermometer, so could have gone wrong, but he did well enough to earn second. And in first place with a point and a half is Georgie because she literally looked up the tarte tatin recipe last night. This is the second time she's done this on this show. So smart that she is thinking ahead of just like caramel week. What do you think the challenge could be? Maybe a tarte tatin.
Right. Yeah, totally. She did that other time, and it was so funny that like, yeah, it just happened to be again. But then it is true. Yeah, she's probably narrowing it down, looking at like, maybe I don't know how many recipes, maybe 25 recipes, but at least they're
Hmm.
all in the category of whatever the week is. So yeah, and
Yeah,
it paid off.
it paid off greatly for her. I am now looking at my video and realizing I was relying on window light, and now that the sun is setting, I'm going to turn on the light.
Mm.
And that's something Val will have to cut out of the audio, and you YouTubers just get to see that happen.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Wow.
Little
What a
treat for the
privilege.
tubes.
Treat for the tubes.
Ooh.
Okay. Anything else about the technical before we move on to the showstopper?
Mm.
I don't
Great.
think so.
No.
Grand. Love it. All right. The showstopper challenge this week is to make a caramel mousse cake. Every single one of these sounded so good to me. Like caramel mousse already, I'm like, yes, but then there was a lot of like bananas and hazelnuts and pecans. I was like, this is my jam. This is my flavor profile. You know what I mean? Do you feel differently?
I was a little like I'm still kind of trying to grasp caramel mousse and what mousse cake is that's not cheesecake and
Yeah.
not other textures. But I mean, what I loved about it is when people did I can't remember what it's called, but just the design with the kind of more like
Yeah.
structured caramel, like
Sugar
sugar.
work, isomalt.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's my favorite. Oh yeah, that's what they called it, ice mall or something. Yeah, that
Mhm.
is like my favorite kind of thing. I mean, Sumaya referencing Chihuly, that was really cool. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that was really fun, and I, liked that aspect of it. But the mousse part, I wasn't really sure like how to imagine that because I don't know if I've ever really had caramel mousse cake.
I think that it's just like mousse cake is not very popular,
Okay,
like period. I don't know how popular it is there. It's definitely not popular here. You know what I mean? Um,
sure.
but yeah, yeah, you're right that the textures are like a little harder to grasp, but just the sheer flavor, I'm like, I love a caramel banana. I love a caramel pecan. You know what I mean? I'm in. I'm sold.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, like you said, they all looked cute too, so that really helped. Surprisingly, at the end when they were talking about it, Paul was like, the showstoppers were not great this week, and that shocked me because I was like, I don't know, I think they looked beautiful. Maybe they all tasted shitty, but I was like, I thought they looked great.
Sure. Yeah, there were some structural issues, I'm sure.
Yeah, and a lot of them ended up being too small. I think that was a lot of the criticism.
Oh yeah. Because I thought they were beautiful. Like it was Dylan's and Georgie's that were kind of on the small side,
Yes,
but they
yeah,
look gorgeous. So I was
yes,
like expecting them to be like, oh my god, and then they were like too small, and then that kind
yeah,
of overshadowed everything. But all good.
yeah. Agreed. Okay, let's talk about Georgie first with her glass rose mirror mousse cake. Gorgeous, beautiful. She won the technical, so she was really hoping to nail it this time. She did a feuilletine. Uh, Paul did his little fake out handshake thing again. They said it was a bit small. The feuilletine actually took over the cake because it was so small, but the idea was there. So, but this one I was like, it's like if the challenge were to make the rose from Beauty and the Beast into a cake. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Because it was such a
totally.
perfect glaze of the whole thing.
And like the dome thing is kind of like the
Yes.
dome thing that goes over the flower
Yeah, exactly.
in that
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, no, that's a great comparison. And she did kind of like gold edges, and then
Hmm.
it also just reminded me something. I have had a mousse cake at Porto's. They have a mango mousse cake,
Oh
and that's like
yeah.
kind of a dome looking thing. It's small, you can get a small one or whatever. So I do love that. That's a good mousse cake.
When I first moved to LA, I was not a Portos fan, shockingly.
Oh.
I
Interesting.
know. I think it's because it's like I didn't know what to order. Like I ordered their food, which is still good, but I lived in New York, which New York has like I
Hmm.
think a higher population of like non-Mexican Latin population. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot more
Yeah.
like Puerto
Hmm.
Ricans and Dominicans in New
Yeah,
York than there are in LA. And so I was really used, like I lived around the corner from like a steam table joint where I could get like, like a huge pile of like pork pernil over like rice with like mojo and beans and shit and like concrete, and it was like $1. And so when I
yeah.
came here, I was like, this Porto shit is not good. But now I love it. Now I figured out what you're supposed to order on the menu.
Sure. Yeah, no, I see your error. No, it's definitely yeah, definitely like going for the baked stuff, I feel is kind of what everybody. And then also like the certain occasions, like I feel like going to lunch there, like you can, and that's great. But I feel like it's more for like, we're having like a big lunch.
Yeah. We need to feed 100 people.
Yeah. We're getting like boxes on boxes of things, and like it'll all be delicious.
Yeah. Where were we? Oh, Georgie, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, great. No, yeah, that's all we have to say about her. Andy made the Lonely Tree mousse cake. This one I thought was so cute. He made the tree out of sugar, and then he made apple flavored cotton candy for like the leaves of the tree. Gorgeous, so brilliant. The fact that the cotton candy was flavored like an apple, like something that grows on a tree. Mwah, brilliant, perfect.
But what, Paul didn't like it or something? He was like, that's gross.
Prue didn't like it. Prue called it, quote, truly horrible.
Oh no, yeah. I think that, if it's like a really intense green apple flavor, maybe,
Yeah.
It could be like a real artificial green apple flavor. But actually I do love green apple flavors / Jolly Ranchers. So that's what I was expecting.
Interesting. You're not team watermelon on Jolly Ranchers?
I think as a child, we in Spanish class we had to say the Spanish word to get the flavor, and I was a manzana girl. Some people did say sandia, but I was very like, that's not one of the ones that we learned. I want to say one of the ones we learned. So anyway, but no, I think watermelon, sure, maybe it's objectively better, but I think the sour element. Anyway, sorry.
Iffy, you strike me as like a blue raspberry guy. Was that your Jolly Rancher? Or am I completely off?
Oh man, you hit the nail right on target. I was a blue raspberry boy for sure.
Yeah, it's the like anime kid, bright colors, like the blue tongue. I feel like that was all you. Yeah.
Plus, it just tasted great.
Look, they all taste great.
I mean, it's sugar at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. I also couldn't tell if Prue's little calling it truly horrible was a callback or not, because they had this bit where I can't remember who it was. Someone was like, Prue is actually, she'll say something horrible, but she says it in such a nice way that you don't even notice it until way later. But then they didn't show Prue like acknowledging that or interacting with that. So I don't know if she was like playing along with that game, or if she just genuinely in her heart was like, this is awful.
Right. That's just what she does. And then everybody's like, ha, that's so funny. That's nice.
So Prue.
So nice of you, Prue.
Yeah.
But no, I think I don't know. Well, then also they didn't really was that one that was kind of falling over as well, or I don't remember.
I think it's that when they cut into it, it was like it started to tilt, but that's not, it was not a structural problem. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Not like this cornucopia.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to Sumaya. Made a banoffee pecan mousse cake. She does not like mousse cakes. Again, sort of a red flag when someone's like, I don't like this, but she right. Okay, yeah. Dale Julie, which I thought was very cool. It was cool inspiration, and she pulled it off very well. Just that she made little like spirals and spikes and flowers and made a little bundle. I thought it looked amazing. But she did put too much gelatin in her caramel, and the way it peeled off, it looked like latex to me, and I was like, that's pretty unappetizing.
Ew.
And it was like Nickelodeon slime green, it was like not a good color and not a good texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad.
They told her it was disappointing, and she started crying. So that is a half point for Sumaya for crying. She was positive she was going to go home. Let's talk about Jill with her sticky toffee mousse cake. She dedicated this one to her colleague, who is presumably not dead, because she said that colleague was holding down the fort. So no points there. And they said it was definitely a caramel cake because it looked like a caramel cake, but the mousse was too thick and too sweet. Not much else to say there. Nellie made her Behind Every Great Woman mousse cake, which is dedicated to her husband. Again, I have to assume that he is not dead, because he believes in her and she doesn't. It was very adorable. She told Allison that they met in a kebab shop. Come on, that's romantic.
We love it.
Amazing.
We love it.
Basically the same as the Alicia Keys "You Don't Know My Name" video, except in a coffee shop ordering a weird food combination. You're at the kebab shop ordering something cute.
Wow. Okay, hold on. That's a deep cut that I do not know. Please tell me what happens in that music video.
Oh, so like, it's So it's the Alicia Keys "You Don't Know My Name" song, and Common is in it, and he's like he has the he like I'm gonna get the exact thing, but the food he ordered in the don't know my name video is nuts because she works at a diner. Like the story of it is that she works at a diner, and
Okay.
it's basically like she's the employee there and she thinks he's cute, and she's like, and the concept of the song is like, you don't know my name, but I'm like very attracted to you and I want to take you out. And it's like a hot cocoa and like tuna sandwich. It's like truly like insane. Yeah, oh sorry, it was Mos Def.
Okay.
And he ordered he ordered um a hot chocolate. Hold on, let me just take the time to look it up. It's like nuts. Everyone always makes fun
Oh,
of.
no.
I did not know this was a thing, and this makes me want to like. I feel like there have to be YouTube videos of people doing the most def order. You know what I mean?
Right. That's
Yeah.
like a signature.
Yeah, like is Denny's or is Waffle House doing like a most def special where it's like hot chocolate and tuna or whatever?
That being said, I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like I would order that.
He ordered hot chocolate
Oh,
with the
no.
fish.
Oh. Where's the fish? What
Yeah,
fish?
who has hot chocolate with fish?
Not me. No, I do think that there's a possibility I'd be like, oh, I want to get the tuna melt or something, and then later I'm like, oh, it's kind of cold outside. I'll get the hot chocolate. I wouldn't think of
Okay,
it as a
sure.
meal, but
Yeah, yeah.
I may have made that order before.
It's oh my God, this photo is horrifying.
Oh no. Oh, well, yeah, this fish is a bit
That's a
different than what I was
fish. Yeah, it's
picturing.
not a tuna
Yeah,
melt. That's straight up
that's
fish.
that's a fish. That's a fried fish right
I
there.
know what you mean. There's a
Maybe.
feeling when you're at a diner where you're like, it's pure hedonism. You can have whatever you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get that feeling. Like you're at the diner, nothing makes sense. You
Yeah.
got a grilled cheese, you got you got
Right.
a coffee, which normally is just an express trip to the toilet, but at a diner, anything is real.
Something about
Yeah.
that diner air keeps it all
Yeah,
together. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is a bit. I mean, the fish part is maybe maybe I would reconsider the hot cocoa.
yeah,
Yeah, no. But
Um,
just to give
but
you
it's
credits
good
here, I
to
do
know.
feel like yeah, no, it's okay to walk into a diner and be like, I'll have one thing from every page. It's not
Right,
going
right,
to go
right.
together,
These
but
are
that's what my
different.
heart wants.
Right, right. I like start a new life every time I turn the page.
Yeah. Um, how did we get here? Right. Okay, Nellie met her husband in a
Oh
kebab
yeah,
shop.
cute.
As she was plating, or not plating, but finishing up, she did say she had shaky hands, so that is a half
Mm.
point there. They said it looked great and it tasted great. They said that it was almost coffee-like, and she said, "If you want it's coffee, it's coffee." So charming, so great. And then afterward, when they were talking about her, they did say that Nelly saved herself with this cake. This kind of turned things around for her this week. So, by all accounts, seemed to be a good cake. Let's talk about Mike with his coffee popcorn mousse cake. He said it was inspired by the popcorn salted caramel espresso martini at his local movie theater. And my first thought was, where the fuck is this movie theater and where can I get that? Because it sounds incredible.
It is like four things, but like it's like I went through like four different pictures in my mind of like, oh, he's
Yes.
ordering salted caramel popcorn. Oh, wait, no, it's actually this espresso. Oh, wait, no,
Yeah.
it's a drink.
Yeah.
So that was an adventure. But yeah, I bet it's great. I mean, he's like a farm kid. So I mean, he has a farm, so it must be kind of like a cool little theater. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, it must be like when they travel into the city.
Right.
That's their big outing. Yeah.
Cute, cute.
Anyway, that sounded good to me. Okay, so Mike, as he's cooking, splits his cream. He starts over again. That's a half point. And then he splits it again and is like, I don't have time to make it again. But just for the record, the caramel mousse in my caramel mousse cake, not going to be good. So I was really worried, but then they didn't even pick up on it. And I feel like that is super rare for any culinary show for the judges to kind of miss something like that.
He basically like made it more of a what they said tiramisu or something
Yes,
or what
yeah.
so I feel like it's like the mousse itself was just like thin and then maybe they just like didn't even really taste it between all the other stuff.
Yes.
So he didn't make a mousse cake, and that's what they were like, hey, it would have been good if it were not a mousse cake, but the challenge was mousse cake. But also, like, I don't think he like put enough on there to make it noticeable, which is smart.
I agree. Yeah. I think that that was Prue's comment. She's like, "Where's the mousse?" And so I think that in lieu of having good mousse, he's like, "I'm just gonna have less mousse."
Right.
Yeah. Which, good strategy.
The
sure.
mousse is loose.
That's the t-shirt. Okay, Ilyin made a caramel and white chocolate mousse cake. She also split her caramel mousse, so she started over again. That's a half point. She starts to break down a little. Allison gives her a hug, asks, "How can I pick you back up? Shall we have a dance? Shall we have a sing?" I think I want an Allison hug more than I want a Hollywood handshake. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah. I'd get an Allison hug over at any time.
Yeah. It feels so, because a Hollywood handshake is you did good, and Allison hug is like, we're gonna be okay. And that's such a better feeling.
Much more necessary. It's like when the contestants are at their lowest lows. It's like,
yes, exactly.
She's there.
Brings you back up. Yeah. Anyway, the judges said they weren't sure about the way Ilyin kind of rammed the crown into her cake and that she needed a bigger sponge layer. The mousse was good, but it altogether could have been neater. Dylan made a lemon, honey, and ginger mousse cake. The lemon looked really cool. The flavors, I was like, this is what you have when you're sick. To me, lemon, honey, ginger is like, yeah. And then sure enough, he was like, I have a cold right now. And I couldn't tell if he was joking or not. If he does have a cold, do we think this is the same thing that took Jeff out of the competition a couple weeks ago?
Oh, no. It's passed around.
It's coming back around for a new victim.
Yeah. Dylan talked about Amalfi lemons and how you could just eat them off the vine. It tastes like a lemon gummy. That sounded cool.
That's crazy.
I know. I have not had the pleasure of trying that, but that is now like on my life bucket list.
Yeah, I know. Especially, I was at the Amalfi Coast. They never told me about the lemons.
Oh,
yeah,
go get your money back.
Yeah, ask for a refund from the Amalfi Coast.
Yeah. Excuse me, you said nothing about your lemons.
And Paul commented on this. He said it tastes like being punched in the face by a lemon, but he's happy to be punched in the face by a lemon. And he called Dylan the Flavor King.
Cute.
Dylan. You got a nickname going.
Yeah. Once again, that's real like father-son behavior to me.
Yeah.
Flavor
Look,
King.
He sees him. He's like, look, you are a future heartbreaker. I'm a current heartbreaker. Let me take you down that path.
Yeah. Game recognized game.
Yeah. I see you still trying to find your style. You got that big goofy hat. We'll go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, Paul Hollywood's like, trust me, you want to button up in some jeans. It hasn't failed me for 50 years.
Yeah, keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Finally, we have Christian with his Tropic Caramel Mousse Cake, another citrusy thing. He brought in limes from his garden. He made the isomalt wave, and I thought that looked really cool. He also had really pretty decoration.
Yeah, that was crazy. That wave was so big. I loved it. I love a clear wave,
Yeah. They said it looks great. Lime jelly had a hell of a kick to it. Paul wanted the caramel to be gooier. Okay. In line for Star Baker, we've got Dylan and Georgie. That is 1 point apiece. And they said at risk of going home is Sumaya and Mike. Sumaya really disappointed them. They mentioned that when it comes down to like who's going to go home, they think about like, who do we think is going to do better going forward? Which I feel like is also not very American. In America, it is strictly just like, how did you perform today? Not how good do we think you are? Especially because like Top Chef, this happens all the time where it's like, this person is clearly a good cook. They're nailing it every time. They have one bad week, they're sent home.
Yes. And we did see that this past season. I think, but at the same time, I think they kind of, everybody kind of does that subconsciously, even if they don't say it out loud. Like here, they're kind of saying it out loud, but I think sometimes it is like, well, who's kind of historically done great, which also kind of means, well, they'll do great if we map this out in the future. But yeah, I agree that it is to say that out loud and be like, actually, we're going to just predict from our own brains is like kind of, that's new.
It's new. It's interesting. I do feel like in that case, Sumaya was the right choice. I do feel like she is altogether a stronger baker than Mike. But still sad to see. Mike go. And also, this was a bummer for me because both Sumaya and Mike are on my team, so I was kind of sweating the whole time.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's especially, but I do think, I didn't think that Sumaya did so poorly this episode. I know she was crying after the second challenge, the technical one, because but she like wasn't on the bottom. I feel like for the first thing. I don't know. It's always
she came
hard
in third for the technical, so that
okay, yeah, and did well there. So yeah, I feel like I was surprised how, maybe it's just stuff we didn't see as much comment wise or something, but she was
had
very
the
devastated.
the runny red caramel in the first challenge, which is
right,
like not
right.
bottom, but like not great.
And then but because I felt like there are other people who had problems too.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that the she was even close, but yeah, I think Mike for sure was like, I feel like he also didn't do so hot in previous episodes. So, that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So our star baker this week is Georgie. That's 2 points. And going home is Mike. He cries immediately. That's a half point. And he seemed well loved. He's a crier, and that's okay. We love him for it. All right, let's do our points breakdown. As a reminder, you can find our rules on our Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League. The technical challenge this week, coming in first with 1.5 points is Georgie. Second place with 1 point is Christian. Third place with a half point is Sumaya. In line for Star Baker are Dylan and Georgie. That's 1 point apiece. Our Star Baker is Georgie. That's an extra 2 points. Starting over this week, we have Mike, Ilyin, and Nelly. Nelly actually started over twice, but just as a reminder, we've talked about this in the past, multiple instances of a rule being applied per episode is still just one application of that rule. So still only a half point for that. But all those people get half point for starting over. Jill gets 1 point for helping out Mike. Nelly said her hands are shaking. That's a half point. Crying this episode, that's Sumaya and Mike. They each get a half point. Everybody gained points in this episode except for Andy.
Oh, no. That's my guy.
That is your guy, but I wouldn't feel too bad for yourself because Georgie was a real fucking powerhouse this episode. This week, Iffy, you gain 2.5 points.
Okay.
Okay, not too bad. This week, I gain 3 points. Not too bad. Sierra, you gain 5.5 points.
Ooh.
5.5 points, but you were slightly behind last week. So our current totals right now, in last place, Iffy, you're at 16.5. I'm in second with 17. Sierra, you're in first place with 18.5. We are still pretty neck and neck.
Yeah, it's bouncing.
Yeah, it's bouncing, but then every person in our league is like within 1 Star Baker of winning. So
yeah.
Really exciting stuff. Folks, if you like this podcast, first of all, please tell your friends, but also please go to MaximumFun.org/join. That is where you can support us for as little as $5 a month. It really helps us out. Thank you so much. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, you can drop us a line on Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League or send us an email at chef@MaximumFun.org. If you're doing your own Bake Off Fantasy League, tag us, tell us how you're doing. We love hearing about it. For full unedited episodes, you can check us out on YouTube. Thanks again to my co-hosts, Sierra Kato and Iffy Wadiwe. We will be back next week. Bye-bye. TV Chef Fantasy League is a Maximum Fun production. Our producer is Valerie Moffat. Our theme song is by Dylan Van Auken. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at TV Chef Fantasy League.